Cruising on Cespa in my DeLorean. War's over, I'm a piece of Mandalorian. The story is Stump Star Wars historian. Stephen McVeigh, Buffett, play at Bennigan's.
Gentlemen, it is myself, the one, the only Kelvin Tiberius, spinning out our information on the Galactic Holonet. I am joined by Scott, Mr. Froggies Williams, and Greg, Joy and Vengeance Duncan. It's the one, the only Scum and Villainy podcast broadcasting to you. Gentlemen, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic tonight, Richard. Ready to definitely dig into some exciting new content, some spoilers, if you will, for the new transport pack coming up.
Scott?
Yeah, I'm totally excited, although I think we can't call it transport anymore. It's Rogue Squadron.
Rogue Squadron, not the Rebel Transport, maybe because of the outstanding X-Wing pilots we've been given?
Yeah, these are the pilots we've been waiting for X-Wings. I'm super excited about them.
Yeah, they got the obligatory big movie guys out of the way. We're seeing a couple more of the I guess the they're almost C-listers at that point, because some of those Rebel pilots at the end of the episode 4 are pretty much B-listers for the movie, so those guys come in kind of behind them. They got their obligatory guys out of the way. The Wedge is in there, Luke is obviously in there, big main characters. Now we get to see some of the more interesting pilots see daylight.
Well, if we've got the Rebels, why don't we dig into the specifics of them? We're going to go highest pilot skill to lowest, because every single one of these has their own uses and is kind of awesome. I'm going to go ahead and start with Scott, since he is Mr. End-all Be-all Rebels, and Greg, you are nothing but the evil enemy.
God, I have a confession to make, actually, and I hate to admit this out in the open, but my dirty little secret is I've flown very, very well with Rebels at the last 2 Store Championships I've played. I'm really happy about it.
I don't think you want... this is the closest you've ever come to treason in your entire life.
It really is, and my friend bought me a poster at a recent Comic-Con, and I almost feel bad for owning it, because I've been playing the Rebels.
Is that going to give you bad luck?
It might make me lose sleep. I don't know about the luck, but I might lose sleep over it.
Soontir joined the rebellion.
Oh, well, I guess that makes me feel a little bit better. Thank you, Scott.
Well, here's the problem, is Soontir did join the rebellion, but he did serve under someone known as a General Wedge Antilles. We're going to defer to our Wedge Antilles. Scott Williams, Mr. Rebel, how do you feel about Wes Jansen?
I like Wes. I think he's pretty awesome. He's just so people know, his ability is, after you perform an attack, you may remove a focus, evade, or target lock token from the defender. I see him doing some really great things, like defending your other guys from missile attacks, which would be awesome. If you strip a target lock off of somebody who's about to unload a advanced proton torpedo on one of your guys, that's going to save the day. Or you got a ship that you really want to hit with one of your shots. You're stripping their tokens so you can get in more damage. I think his ability is really interesting.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, and I think what I like most about this card is that it sort of embodies the versatility of the X-Wing. You hit on that a little bit there, Scott. He can shut down your missiles. He can also take the option of, depending on how you outfit him squad-wise with his friends, if there's opportunists involved in this squad, the fact that he strips tokens, he now gives you with your guys with opportunists, which I believe has been spoiled as well. It's part of the Aces pack, which actually I don't even believe is a spoiler. Didn't it come out today or tomorrow?
Yeah, it came out today.
Yeah.
So opportunist gives you an extra attack dice if you fire on a target that is without an evade, correct? Or without an evade or focus?
Out of focus.
Yeah. Okay, without a focus. So if he can strip that target away, or that focus away with his token stripping ability, it's actually really powerful with squad mates. Excellent versatile move. You don't feel so bad spending the points on him when he's that usable.
Yeah, you can get very good specific uses out of him in your squad, and then he's also good for those situations that come up in games where someone's like running a bomber build and they're going to throw a lot of ordnance at you. Now you're
Wes
protecting them.
does not just seem like the most end-all be-all beginning of an Alpha Strike you've ever seen.
Oh yeah, he totally seems like that.
If you hit Soon Tier Fell, you can suddenly, because of course we all know that everything I design now is designed to kill Soon Tier, because I will always have
Your traumatic experience.
I have been shocked. I hate everything about Soon Tier Fell. I hope that like every card is burned just on accident in some sort of spontaneous combustion, and the files are deleted. But Wes seems like a great beginning to just taking somebody out.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to hit with the attack. You just, as long as he's making an attack, you're removing an evade or, focus or target lock, no matter what.
Exactly.
Which is great, too, because let's think about the X-Wing and its maneuverability, guys, is we've got something that can 4K turn, nice maneuver to keep people in your arc turn to turn. Sometimes you're sad because you lost an action, but with Wes Jensen, you're always going to cost someone an action as well. So it doesn't hurt to have him in a lot of ways. Sometimes I feel like Wedge is kind of one-dimensional at that same point cost.
I think you did say it with Opportunist. I think that there is a real question you have to ask yourself if Wes Jansen is firing shots in your squad. Is 23 points for a green squadron legitimately worth the 2 points more than you would be spending than a rookie, or the 1 point more that you would be spending over a blue squadron? And that's a legitimate question you need to ask yourself, and I don't know the answer yet, but I know that's a question that we need to be asking.
It's a good point. His ability almost empowers other ships to shine, especially with Opportunist coming out.
Yeah. They can't spend the point, can't they?
The A-Wing's got the great dial. You're going on PS3, so you're ahead of a blue or a rookie. You're now throwing 3 dice just like them. You get a stress, but with an A-Wing's got 8 green moves, you don't care about stress that much.
Yeah, who cares about stress? Every movement screen.
Is Opportunist range 3 use?
It's a whatever use.
It's
you
all
take
ranges.
The stress, you
Okay.
get an extra attack dice.
That's right.
If they cannot spend tokens, which Wes would then solve by accident.
Yes, exactly. I love that combo.
The funny thing is that I'm hearing that this is like the least sexy combo, or at least the least sexy ship in this entire expansion.
Well, yeah, for sure. There'll be some real beauties. If you guys want to talk about some of the others, I think we've done a
This
good
is the
job
worst
talking
one,
about
they're
Wes.
saying. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go on down. Oh, I was going to say we're going to go on. Yeah, Porkins is 7, isn't he? They display this properly. Porkins is pilot skill 7, and when you receive a stress token, you may remove it and roll 1 attack die. On a hit result, deal 1 face-down damage card to the ship. There has never been a more awesome pilot ability than Jack Porkins. Scott, your thoughts?
This is perfect with his droid.
It's the best thing.
I've got a problem here. Jack, I can hold it. Hold on! No, I'm all right.
I love it. Yeah, it's perfect. And his droid is R5D8, and that lets you heal face down damage for an action. You roll a die, and you might heal it. So it's just like he's built to push the limit and have this droid, and I think he's a fun risk taker ship for the X-Wing, because you can do a K turn. And eat the stress, and you got a 50-50 shot of whether or not you take damage or not.
This is not even considering push the limit,
and then you can push the limit afterwards and remove the stress again. You could, late game potentially you could do some things that just set you up where they just can't get to you.
You could push the limit every turn and K-turn.
Yeah.
Or could you K-turn every turn?
You could K-turn every turn.
Yep.
I mean, it's
That's
risky.
ridiculous.
It's
but
risky.
Still, but what a crazy maneuver. No one can do that.
Yes, and that makes him kind of awesome.
And let's talk about that dice roll too. You're at a better chance to roll a focus or an evade on that defense die to repair yourself than you are to hurt yourself with his ability.
Actually, it's even. It's even because
you have 3 hits.
I thought someone said it was 9 out of 64 dice.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, you only have 3 hits, and you have only 3 blanks. So
on a hit result, you deal yourself a damage, and then if you have the action to repair yourself, then you repair yourself on
focus or evade.
Focus or evade.
Yeah, it's a much better chance.
So
it's
there's
2 more
a
positive
9
results.
in 64 chance of taking damage if you have if you were able to use that droid.
Yeah.
With Jack Porkins.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really fun. It's really flavorful. It really kind of goes with him in the movie, just trying to push it, and he just pushed it too far in the movie. But like in gameplay, he's going to be fun. He's going to be a lot of fun.
He also happens to have one of the most awesome pictures in the game for a card too. He's getting shot at from the backside, and there's explosions in the background, and it seems like he's moving in slow motion, which makes everything more awesome.
Yeah.
Seems like he's moving in slow motion from his still frame image.
Exactly.
I love it.
Greg, how do you feel about Jack? Do you got any certain insight in him?
My biggest complication with Jack Porkins is that he seems like a really dangerous point hole. He seems like a really, really, really easily killed pilot that can become a hole for points to fall into. I'm curious how he plays on the table. He sounds really fun, but he's one of those guys that I can see sounding a whole lot better than he ever practically plays out to be.
I have a thought for him, and you guys tell me what you think, but is this not the most natural fit for Hull Upgrade in the entire game?
I agree with that, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, Hull Upgrade makes a lot of sense with him.
Gives you one more opportunity to take a face-down damage card, and it gives you one more opportunity to heal a damage with that droid if you take them, which with Jack you should always in every way take him. Of course, in the next situation where I'm proven wrong with that droid, but until then, let's go ahead and just be safe. But
it's him or basic R2 unit.
Yeah, to shed stress.
Yeah. Now, I think that the R2 unit actually works almost better on a couple of the other pilots, but there's push to limit options. I really like that R2 unit with push to limit, but I'm excited for that unit and push to limit coming with Wave 4 stuff, and we're not getting into that, unfortunately.
Here's the disgusting part. Is that disgusting's the wrong word because I tend to be neutral when it comes to Rebels, Imperials. I just want to be better. But you two tend to favor a side, despite the fact that Greg is slowly but surely having his soul sucked from him, and is slowly becoming a terrorist.
Well, okay. On that note, it's kind of not my fault if you want to talk about my opinions on how things are skewing. I feel a little bit jilted with some of these guys as far as their options that the Rebels have that the Imperials can't possibly hope to have at this point. The stress removal I find frustrating. There's a lot of ways to deal with or frustrate or counter interceptors. And my biggest problem with these guys being able to clear their stresses and then rip away tokens, the Interceptor was already kind of not played enough at this point, so now we're going to get Imperial Aces hoping to get its play level up a little bit higher, but at the same time they just shot it in the face before it ever even came out of the womb. Basically just killed it before it was ever allowed to see the light of day.
Oh, man.
With stress-removing X-Wing madness.
It just seems like every single time that they make a card, it just so happens to also counter the push the limit interceptor.
Yeah, it really
seems
does.
like FFG is more scared of this ship than any other ship. It's like they watched nothing but theorists fly the interceptor and no one else. It's like, oh, okay, this is the only time we've ever seen the interceptor and it was awesome. Maybe we should just counter the hell out of it.
I don't know. I don't think the interceptor's as destroyed as you guys are making it out to be.
You can still be very good with it.
Let's be fair though. We haven't even gotten into some of the other, like, what is it? The Fletchet missiles we've talked about. Ugh.
The
torpedoes. Ugh.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So the Fletchet torpedo, you roll you don't even have to hit with the attack to cause a stress. You do it. But I think, don't you take a stress when you?
Nope.
Is it both ways or just a?
Nope. It's only if the target's whole value is 4 or lower that it takes the stress. But it's a stress given away and a 3 dice attack for 2 points. Now, granted, 3 dice attack is nothing exciting, but with the stress comboed onto it is really nice for those lovely can't come in at anything higher than 4 hull interceptors.
So torpedoes, I think, are the Fletchet torpedoes are good for either side. So it's not really doing anything specifically to either faction. You know, the bombers, you can load up a couple of those on your bombers now. And now that your bombers have, because sometimes their 2 dice attack is just not enough. So having a couple torpedoes where you can stress them out, that's
plus you can put Mr. Reroll in there and
exactly.
Yeah,
I think it's good for them. It's the droid that I was wanting to talk about.
Should we talk about that now? I mean, I've got no problem because the droids are the most incredible thing about the article. They're not just about X-wings; it's also about Y-wings, and Y-wings get love, and that's awesome. Horton Salm and his beautiful mustache. It's time.
Yeah, let's before we get too tangential, go ahead and cover this other droid.
Yes. What is it?
R3A2, when you declare the target of your attack, if the defender is inside your firing arc, you may receive a stress token to cause the defender to receive a stress token. I believe this is what you were talking about, Scott.
Yes. I think it's very awesome.
For an X-wing, too, especially chasing an Imperial ship that needs to go at least 2 squares, right? Like, no matter what.
This card, to me, is the Rebel version of the Rebel Captive.
I think it's better.
It's nice because you're specifying who the target is, but Rebel Captive is really nice because it's always going to be... It's generally going to be the highest pilot skill guy shooting at you, or they're not shooting at you and shooting at something else and splitting their fire. So Rebel Captive is doing different things, but I think they're a similar comparison in terms of power. And I don't think Rebel Captive has killed the Interceptor. So I don't think this R2 is going to kill the Interceptor either.
I think you're right because the Interceptor has such a good green dial that it can just deal with it. But it's a really good card for 2 points. It's a card you have to deal with. It is better than Rebel Captive. I will say it right now. I consider this card to be better than Rebel Captive.
I consider it most dangerous, too, because, the Interceptor does have great greens. it really only takes one turn without actions to kill a TIE Interceptor. And
That's
you can
so true.
double
That's
stress
so true.
it with this mechanic.
Yes,
you can take one that's pushed to the limit and then just go ahead and pop a stress on it. And that pilot, other than hoping to escape arc, which is pretty good at it, doesn't really have any control over the stress mechanic like you do in Rebel Captives. So I think, again, like you said, Scott, that element of you being in control of it makes it that much more powerful. And it comes in at a point cheaper.
Yes, but they're also stressing to do that.
If you're behind your target, you can double stress yourself and then just take a 1 forward while they can't shoot you, unless it's a fire spray.
Yeah.
Or another M smuggler.
It's... Yeah, I know
Yeah, I
what you
mean,
it's
sounds
tricky.
that sounds better to me than the Rebel Captive does, because to get Rebel Captive, you have to get shot.
So when you see this on the opposite side, if you're playing the Imperial guys, you see that card on the table. That's going to be a priority target for you. You're going to be going after it.
You're going to want to kill it and get away from it. You're going to have to stay away from it, too.
You're going to have to fly really well.
Yep, absolutely.
To deal with it. You know, if you have Soontir or Turfanier, you're going to be able to get out of arc. And that's how you're going to beat it. And that's where it's better, or that's where I think Rebel Captive is better, because it's like, you can't, if you're attacking, you just take it. You can't avoid, but you can avoid being in this guy's arc. It's hard, don't get me wrong, but it's going to require good piloting.
As far as a location to put this droid, am I wrong to consider that you should put it on your least important ship? Because it would cause that enemy to want to fire at your least important ship?
Oh, no?
Think about that. On a gold squadron, you have this card, and this card is designed to do one thing: stress the enemy target. Like it doesn't even care if it does damage; it stresses the enemy target. It would be a gigantic pain for whatever it had its arc in, and it would also cause it to get shot more, even though it was the least important target.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to use it. You know, put it on a gold squadron pilot, give him an ion cannon and this stress droid.
Oh, whoa! I didn't even think about that.
And you're locking ships down. That's just, you got to do it. It's like you lock ships down.
You can only take greens, or you can't take actions.
Yeah.
And you can't K-turn. Holy cow. With an ion cannon? Holy cow. Oh, I didn't even think about that. This is the second, I believe, or the third podcast in a row that you've blown my mind.
It's probably the third, honestly. I mean, he's got a good
no
ratio.
joke. Holy cow, that's a good combo.
Yep.
Yeah. And like you said, that's a cheap ship. That's not
cheap.
expensive.
That
it's
is
23
not
points.
expensive at all to do a really good job of locking something down.
25 points with that astromech. That's nothing. I mean,
yeah,
fine.
That's
you killed that 25.
That's a quarter of your list to absolutely lock down a target.
Yep.
And
holy cow!
You know that they're going to go for it, and they have to go for it.
You do not want to see that list last. You do not want to see that ship. That ship will take you.
Yeah. It'll just own, and I mean against B-wings, it's just, oh man.
Yeah, against B-wings, no joke. You get walked off. You're going nowhere. There's nowhere you can go in a B-wing.
Yeah, and it's going to be so hard for you to not get ioned.
I kind of like the idea that Y-wings are becoming more popular because of B-wings, because Y-wings need to be more popular because they're awesome.
Yes, I agree with that. Y-wings are they're a fun ship to fly, honestly. You can have a whole lot of fun with them. There's a lot of ways to build them because they come in at the nice low 18-point cost. You don't feel too bad about throwing some upgrades on them. They're also tough. They tend to live about 2 rounds under focus. at decently controlled ranges with a couple of greens. I mean, you can survive 2 rounds. So they're a fun ship to fly. Engine upgrade on them is a blast. Ion cannons we all love on them. And again, another thing that's going to make them better, Fletchet torpedoes on the Y-Wings. Going to be more interesting.
Really cheap.
Yeah.
Good, varied Y-Wing.
Range 3. What do you do at range 3? Oh, you fire 3 dice at something that normally would have extra agility but doesn't, and you happen to have an extra attack dice. It is nothing but
and
a
you
gain
start
for the
your
Y-Wing.
stress mechanic. So if you do have that ion cannon R2,
they're perfect for your ion cannon. It's incredible. The Y-Wing ion cannon Fletchet torpedo mix is going to make the Y-Wings the biggest pain in the ass ship that has ever existed for the cheapest amount of points.
We should finish up the X-Wings, because the next 2 are some of my favorite ones, actually.
They actually couple in regards to the next droid, which is when your upgrade bar for 1 point gains the elite pilot talent action, and so long as the pilot is 2 or higher, they can gain an elite pilot talent, which means that now any X-Wing and any Y-Wing and any E-Wing above pilot skill 3 can have an elite
it's also
pilot
important to note that you can't double up on elite pilot talent with this card.
Yes, I think that was a good call.
Very good call. It's very expensive to do it, but if it's worth it, it's worth it.
Well, now Horton can pick up some elite pilot talent. I'm going to barrel roll him at some point.
And right back to Y-Wings.
Is that your best guess? Because I want to know right now.
No.
Because he's my favorite pilot. He is absolutely my favorite pilot. What is your best guess?
I don't know if there is a good. I don't know if we found the right elite pilot talent yet for him. Push the limit on a Y-Wing.
That's the best I can think of.
They've only got 2 green. They become extremely predictable after that. So I'm not liking push the limit for the Y-Wing.
And he's already got built-in target lock. It's not worth it.
Yeah. It's not. I'm not sure there yet. When we see what Wingman and Decoy
I can see push the limit if you have engine, but we're suddenly spending a lot of points on him.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not sure we have the right elite pilot talent.
That there's something good for Dutch though.
Oh yeah.
Dutch push the limit sounds awesome. Push the limit engine for him sounds great because him surviving longer for target locks sounds awesome.
Yeah, but I'm just going to put that droid, the R7T1 on him.
Yeah, it'd be better. Because that's the best thing that ever happened to Dutch.
Yeah, I mean, it's like his bread and butter right there.
Well, the reason I mentioned that droid was because these last 2 do not have elite pilot talents, but seem as if you put that droid there would be interesting options.
Yes.
Let's start with Hobby Clivian. Hobby Clivian's pilot skill 5. When you acquire or spend a target lock, you may remove 1 stress token from your ship. That's incredible. Which means this guy, without any help, can target lock K-turn every single turn if he wants to.
So you mentioned the droid in tandem with this guy as well, so we have to talk about push the limit with this individual because he's capable of clearing the stress every single round that he goes ahead and uses that target lock.
Or acquires him.
Also interesting to note with the Y-Wing, Dutch Vander giving out target locks at a higher pilot skill than him.
Yeah.
He would move, use push the limit to do whatever he wanted to do, maybe give him another action. And
what does Dutch do?
And Dutch hands out the target lock, so he gets to acquire 1 and clears his stress before the next round, meaning that he can push the limit and then K-turn, or K-turn and then have Dutch hand out a target lock and K-turn again.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yep.
Yep.
It's pretty awesome.
He can also do that K-turn mechanic in the middle of his turn, too, though, as long as he just spends a target lock during his turn.
Yeah. It's great. I actually wonder about him with the other, with R5, reacquiring a lock after.
Yeah, you see that suddenly that becomes a legitimate question because it just works for him, just like it seemed to just work for Dutch. I don't know the numbers, but I mean that might actually be something that someone needs to tell us because I need to know that math. Please, someone with math. There was, I believe, Major Juggler said that he would look up math answers for us. So if you're going to be our Bill Nye the Science Guy, or if I know Robert's really smart about that because Robert's told me everything I need to know about math on X-Wing. If somebody knows, please tell us because we're just not good at math, and you are better than us, Internet. So HoloNet, the entire galaxy needs to know math. Someone please tell us what we need to know. All right, so last one, Tarn Missin. When an enemy ship declares you as the target of an attack, you may acquire a target lock on that ship. How about that?
I'll say that he does a very good job, particularly against things that would be of higher pilot skill, because you can go ahead and take your focus action and just throw that awesome, tasty little Tarn Missin target out there and let people shoot at him. He can maybe use his focus to defend himself, turn around, pick up a target lock, and shoot right back in the face of the higher pilot skill thing that just tried to kill him. Kind of a fun mechanic.
I really like him. I think he's going to be one of my favorite X-Wing pilots. I think he's going to fit into a bunch of different lists. He's cheap. He's 23 points. He's going to be ahead of the B-Wing, or, the Blues and the rookies. He's got this nice ability that's very, useful. You don't need to load him up with a bunch of stuff. And he'll be good.
He works on his own.
Yeah. He's just a nice. It's just a good X-Wing pilot. And for cheap.
Would you rather have him or a Red? I mean, really.
I'd take him over a Red.
Yeah, any day of the week.
Any day of the week.
Yeah, you lose the pilot skill, but you get this ability where you're doubling up, focus target lock.
Yep. I'd say one pilot skill is worth focus target lock on 3 dice.
Unquestionably.
Yeah.
Because you may not need to spend that focus to defend yourself. You could just eat it or maybe you get a good dice roll. You do have 2 agility. It's not, the hardest thing to roll a couple of evades out of it. So it can work out very advantageously for you. Again, particularly against things of higher pilot skill, but against anything that shoots at him, it's going to be good.
Yep.
Tarn is, I think, one of the better late game ships than we've seen in a while.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that. He's a great late game guy because he's always going to be targeted. If he's your last ship, you're always going to target lock.
Yeah, he sort of has that same advanced sensors mechanic where you're in that in-game dogfight. Even if you K-turn, you're always going to have some kind of action stacked up. Or at least you have the option to, because you get that out-of-turn target. You get any out-of-turn action is strong in this game, and coming in at 23 points for it, I'm not going to be sad about it.
Yeah, he's solid.
These Rebels are getting so much cheaper with so much cheaper ordnance. Is it crazy, or is it just becoming more and more Rebel biased?
I think come regionals, we'll start seeing a lot more of these guys.
It's regionals have been announced, and I originally saw 15 locations. There are only going to be 15 to what I thought was 16 buys to the national, or it's not nationals, it's the World's Championship will only have 15 from the United States and every national champion. I mean, that's not a lot.
Yeah, there's 16 actually.
Okay, so you were going to say something about that.
Yes. Region 1 had, when they first posted it, had just one regional listed. Then a bunch of us said, hey,
What about us?
we get two? Don't we get two? And then there was a second one. So I don't know if it was because we talked to them about it or they just forgot that they about it and they put it up there. But in either case, it kind of where they're located, there's no way I'm making it to either of the regionals, which is kind of a bummer. I knew that their selection process was going to be tricky. I just wish there was a little more openness about how they picked stores.
Yeah, I wish I knew how they pick stores. Like, I'm not upset in our regional that Omaha got it because they did a very good job, and I'd rather it be us or them. But boy, like, I wish I knew how that was selected and why.
Yeah, I mean, in my area, the two are located in Spokane and Boise, and that both Seattle and Portland are bigger cities than either of those.
Yeah.
It's
yeah, we know that in Kansas City to Omaha, but man, do they have a good X-Wing following.
And I'll be honest, it doesn't necessarily matter the size of the city because that tournament that we went to in Omaha was probably one of the best run tournaments I've gone to.
Yeah, of course that we managed to go to probably the maybe 4 or 5 best tournaments in the United States for regionals. Hooray!
I'm not going to be sad about that. The tournament was very well run, very well organized, and Sean Dorsey, who I believe we've talked about maybe getting on the show sometime here, is just a fantastic tournament operator. He did a really good job with it. The rounds were quick. We got 4 rounds in, and I think it maybe took 5 hours.
Yeah, we got home by 10:30.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was like 5.5 hours. There was almost no downtime. And we got home that late driving 2 hours and 30 minutes, and one of us was in finals, so it was really 5 games. It was incredibly well done.
That's nice. That's good. Yeah, it'd be fun to talk to Sean.
We're almost finished with tournament season, and I don't like bringing this up because I'm not going to be the laughing one at the end, but we're going to go in the order that I know. Greg, how are you doing this tournament season?
Well, I got a bad start at our local tournament at Game Cafe here in Kansas City. He's technically, I guess, in Independence, Missouri. Mm-hmm. I went 2-2. I guess not the worst, but I definitely didn't break the finals and knew it wasn't going to happen. Lost my first game and just didn't play all that great that day.
Cry me a river.
Yeah, you say that. However, the next 2 store championships I went to, I've gone 3-1 during regular in Omaha, playing against very good players. I went 3-1, won my first 3. Lost to a swarm. Was surprised by that, and then broke for finals for top 8 and got eliminated. I think, what did I end up placing in that 6th? Out of the 34 or 36 players that were there?
Somewhere around
there.
Yeah,
that's a good turnout.
Yeah, it was a very good turnout. They did a good job.
So, and then here, just this last couple of days ago, actually yesterday, couple of days, X-Wing breaks your brain sometimes, ended up placing 3rd or 4th out of the 20-some-odd that ended up being there, broke for the top 4 and got eliminated again right off the bat. I'm running into the wall as far as that's concerned, but I'm 8-5 overall. So I'm playing well. I'm playing the Dirty Rebels. What I've been flying is a... 1 week I flew an ORS with Millennium Falcon and Gunner and 3 B-Wings, Blue Squadrons, to support it. It's 99 points. Got a couple initiative in on 100-point list, good blocking, good attacks. I got a couple of lucky blinded pilots on one game where I was firing against somebody else's simultaneous fire 2s with my B-Wings, so that worked out well. Yesterday I ran a very similar variation, except I dropped Falcon and put Luke. I dropped Falcon and put Luke on the ORS, and it was a lot of fun. I think I prefer the evade. I use it more frequently than I use the secondary attack turn focus into a hit from Luke Skywalker as a crew member. Mm-hmm. So there was that. But yeah, I've been enjoying the list immensely, and it's been performing well for me. It basically leans on people until they're dead. It's got a lot of hit points. It's really just a fat list of
You and I
irritating ships.
share the same ideal, only do it differently. I have been I'm 8-4 in the tournament season. I got one top 4 in Kansas City, and I've been flying recently Slap Fight, which is my favorite squad I've ever flown for the ever in the eternity, because it's the most annoying squad you could ever fly. And it's 4 A-Wings, the Outer Rim Smuggler and Gunner. And it's like there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do that's more annoying to your opponent. And I've been doing well with that, but I've yet to win a store championship, and Greg has yet to win a store championship, and like of course, because good things happen to good people. Scott, how are you doing?
Well, let's see. Oh yeah, I won a store championship.
Oh,
yeah. So
Now I'm sad.
I've been to 2 so far. The first one was at Dice Age Games, and they that was run really well. There was 13 players, so not the same level of turnout as your guys in Omaha and Kansas City.
yeah, lucky you.
Still, I won't belittle your victory.
No, because
I went.
you have a bye and I don't, and I'm really sad about that.
Yep.
So the first one, I went 4-0. I played Chewy, Biggs, and Garvin, and Chewy had Gunner and Expert Handling, and yeah, that was a fun build.
That's a lot. It sounds a lot of fun. I do not want to play that build because I do not know who to kill.
Yeah,
it's Biggs, but that's only on accident.
Yeah, it's you get Biggs first, and then afterwards it's tricky. Garvin's supporting Chewy with the focus passing. It's really nice.
Yeah.
It gets annoying, so you want to kill him, but you don't want to leave Chewy for last. So it's fun. It's a good build. Then I played yesterday at Rainy Day Games, and I totally lost the first round. I played,
and that's the worst round to lose. I mean, that's the thing about Swiss is like everybody says, don't lose the first round.
Yep. Yeah. So I came in third. There was only 12 players, so it wasn't wasn't a huge success, but I won my last 3 games, and that was good. In that list, I played Chewy. He was a little more decked out, and with Expert Handling, Gunner, anti-pursuit lasers, and then there was Nub. And then I had a couple Blue Squadron pilots with fire control system. And it didn't, that list I didn't play as well. I had some bonehead moves that I did and kind of messed myself up early. But, I still managed to get wins, so that was good.
Well, thank God that somebody is winning for our squad, because Greg and I cannot just punch through. Like, one of us has been in the bracket for every single tournament, and we have not punched through. And thank God you are carrying us, Scott.
Yep, carrying us with your X-Wing reputation, for sure.
I'll have to try. And there's one more tournament, and that one should be a lot bigger, because I know people coming down from Seattle to do it, and up from Salem. So we should have a good turnout at the next one at Guardian Games.
Yeah, Richard and I have one more chance ourselves here in Kansas City at Collector's Cash. So it should be interesting.
Well, one of the things about tournament season that we're going to have to, it's either we're going to have to deal with it or we're going to ignore it and get run over. Aces is likely going to be legal for regionals. And we've got some Aces squads that we've been interested in.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. We talked about Aces pilots before, and I personally was excited about Carner Jacks, but for this week I didn't want to continue my rantings and my ravings and my madman's excitement over Carner Jacks.
Oh, you like Carner Jacks?
Yeah, exactly. It's a huge shock to
Huh.
everyone.
Wow, that's...
Everyone that knows me is completely surprised by this turn of events. But no, I instead this week decided I wanted to talk about a squad that was Aces but did not involve Carner Jacks. I pulled this squad from TeamCovenant.com from a user named Dodo. He posted it in response to episode 2 here. And the squad is as follows. It is Jendon in the Lambda Shuttle with advanced sensors, engine upgrade, the ST-321 title, weapons engineer crew member, and gunner crew member. In addition to this, it also has 2 Royal Guards with PTL and hull. They do have the Royal Guard. They do not have the Royal Guard title, and so no second modification. But
that's a real question at that point, right?
I'm okay with this because everybody's flying at Pilot Skill 6, which is fairly high. A lot of people aren't flying at Pilot Skill 6, so they'll likely fly late and be able to do excellent arc avoidance. Jendon, very early, the key here, and ST-321 plays a very big part in this. You have to be able to target lock early with Jendon, so you can immediately hand out target locks to your interceptor pilots. Then you send them out to do your bidding on the map and do their arc avoidance, because that range 1 with Jendon has to happen early with the target lock.
Because if it's not, then those interceptors are going to be caught in an arc.
They're going to be caught in an arc because they're going to be flying in formation. You just don't like to do that with interceptors. They can turtle up, but it's still my least favorite thing to do with an interceptor ever. So ST-321's crucial in there. You immediately get the ability to do it. You would have to stagger your interceptors in their departure from Jendon because of the fact that he can only hand out 1 per round. He can immediately have 2, but he cannot hand them both out. I think what you do here in a lot of cases is use Jendon as your sort of honeypot and hope people come in to try and do some real harm to him.
That's a good spy reference, and I like it.
Excellent. So you use that, and you've got your interceptors nice and far away. If they get shot in this situation at all, say your opponent just blitzes for you and comes in nice and hard and fast, and you just don't really get a chance to delay or escape before you get your target locks handed off. You can stay at a distant range, you get a lot of evade dice, you're double actioned up, and then you can use your 2 turn to clear out your stress and get to the outside arcs with boost and barrel roll. And you still have a target lock sitting on those interceptors. So they get that early arc avoidance with target lock to augment their shot.
If you can do it right, yeah, absolutely.
If you can, yeah. There's options there. I dig the squad. I like the way that 2 interceptors works. They're very hard to chase down. Very difficult to kill. It's a little light at 16 hit points, but I think it packs a hell of a punch, and it can spend a lot of time out of
This
danger.
is actually the question I was going to post really quickly, and this is my only thoughts I have on this squad because I love this squad. Because everything involving shuttles and interceptors sounds awesome because I want them to be good. Hull, shield upgrade, stealth, device. What is the best upgrade in what order, in your opinion? I'm going to give mine first just to give it out. I believe personally it is shield, it is hull, then it is stealth on most ships. What do you guys think?
I like shield, hull, stealth as well. The reason being, shield beats hull because of its ability to soak a crit without hurting you in a bad way. Hull is a little over stealth, same as shield, because I like guarantees. It's a personal preference. There's an argument to be made that stealth allows for a bigger potential of avoided damage, but I don't like playing to potential if I can avoid it.
Scott?
I think, for me, I mostly agree with you guys. I like stealth over hull. But I can go either way on that. The stealth I would prefer on Soontir over hull, because Soontir gets that extra focus and evade. I see him being an even harder target with 4 defense. But, I definitely understand that getting that hull. I've seen those interceptors get one-shotted, and you're right. It's painful to watch because you're like,
It ruins
he's
Christmas.
gone. He's gone.
Well, Scott, you do have an interesting squad that you have decided that we should take a look at least you find interesting, is tell us about the squad. I think it's got some interesting upgrades and some things that we probably ought to talk about.
Yeah, the one I'm interested in is, I also picked this one up off of the TC site. It's by Agent TV, and he has 2 Royal Guard pilots with Push the Limits, Dark Curse with the Stealth Device, Black Squadron with Veteran Instincts, and Backstabber.
Okay.
And it's his sneaky sixes is what he calls it.
Okay.
And they're all pilot skill 6. I like this squad for the synergy of having all your guys move on 6. I find it's a lot easier to fly your squads when they all have the same pilot skill. It just gives you, it opens up some options for you, which is really nice. I'm not sure I like Stealth Device on Dark Curse because he's already not very much of an offensive threat.
I completely agree with that.
So making him even more defensive, it's just, yeah, he's probably going to be your last guy, but he's not, the points wise in terms of tournaments. What if he's your last guy? It's not that. If I have an X-wing left and you have Dark Curse left, I'm going to win. I've killed more of your ships. So I kind of want you to shoot at Dark Curse.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
waste your shots.
Totally.
So
am I
would
crazy
put
that I'd rather have Dark Curse, or I'd rather have Mauler Mythil than Dark Curse as far as drawing a shot to get away from those Royal Guards?
Yeah. I understand why he's going with the theme of the 6s there. So, I think I would drop Dark Curse though and go with the Black Squadron, with the 2nd Black Squadron.
Yeah.
So you have two Black Squadrons with Veteran Instinct,
Yeah, sure.
and Backstabber, and so you now have 4 points to play with, and I'd give the 2 Royal Guards targeting computers.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You have 4 points?
So now you got
Yeah.
yeah. So you split. You give them each targeting.
Because if you're out of arc, it's target lock focus and it's go time.
Yes, absolutely.
Ooh, that's dirty. Oh.
I like that modification a great deal to that list, actually.
I think that brings it more in line. Dark Curse is one of those pilots. He's too defensive in some ways.
I completely agree with that. In almost every list, I'd rather have Backstabber than Dark Curse. Of course, Backstabber's already there. So what do you do?
Yeah, I'll say this much: in games to completion and not time where points are a deal, of course you have to make it to that point in tournament play, which is the problem with having Dark Curse. This list has some very annoying closers because you've got those Royal Guards that have probably been arc dodging all game, and Dark Curse, which is just a pain in the rear to shoot at any point in time. Plus, you're not going to shoot him over the Royal Guards or Backstabber, for that matter.
You might.
So you've got you'll probably try and shoot Backstabber first if you can, or the Royal Guards. Personally, I'd go after the Royal Guards and just let everything else do what it does and pray. It's really it's your best option. You don't want to eat interceptor attacks and then have to deal with them in-game. They're terrifying in the end-game. But yeah, this list into completion has great closers. Like, Dark Curse is annoying as hell in completion games.
Yeah, but I don't know if he's what you... I don't know if that's where I want to spend those points.
I agree.
Those 19 points could be moved around a little bit. But I think I really do like this list for all the 6s. We're the meta
Yeah.
The meta is changing. The PS war is in full.
It
full
is.
swing.
It is in full swing. All right. Well, I did pull one from the Fantasy Flight forums. This is from Sable Griffin. Sable Griffin. I'd say if there's not one person who loves the shuttle more than me, it would be Sable. It is either him or me, and I think that we would have a very kind of weird love-off with the Lambda Shovel. But
let's just not even go.
yeah,
there.
let's just go ahead and dump that. No. He submits Cat Scarlet with expert handling and Rebel Captive, Lieutenant Laurier, and I think this gives us a good opportunity to talk about Laurier and his ability, and then an Omicron with fire control, gunner, intelligent agents, and engine upgrade. So it's a version of a buzzsaw. How do we feel about that?
I like the intelligence agent on there for Laurier. Because one of the things he doesn't get that, he doesn't have the elite pilot skill, so you can't double up actions.
So it works against higher pilot skill. You're gonna know.
Yeah, it's going to give you a chance to maybe barrel roll to either block, or they're going to end up in a certain spot, so now you can use your barrel roll to a better effect.
Okay.
And I kind of like that.
Yeah, sure.
I think that's a nice fit there.
There is some good synergy there, although I worry about how frequently you'd use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many points is Laurier?
He rings in at 23 points.
23. And sabers are 21.
So who do you shoot at first? Which one of these ships is the threat that you'd want to take out first?
If you had to, it would be Kath, wouldn't it?
I think if you can focus down Kath, yay. I think, honestly, if you get an opportunity to kill Laurier, just go ahead and do it.
Or I guess it's all good targets. That is a thing that we need to consider, is an all good targets list is good.
That is
yes.
true. And the Omicron, you can't ignore it out there by any means, because it'll cause you some serious problems.
It's a buzzsaw. A buzzsaw will kill you.
Yes, it will, over and over again.
Because you'll have target lock and either a closer attack or focus.
Yeah, I kind of dig it because of that no good target situation that you deal with. I do like that decision.
And you really don't want a barrel rolling Kath with a rebel captive on there for the last.
If you get rid of captive and Laurier and intelligence agent, how much better can you make that interceptor? And I don't know the numbers. How much is Laurier worth?
Laurier's 23.
And captive is worth 3, so we've got 26.
26, 27.
27.
You could put in the Royal Guard.
Can you put push the limit?
Yeah. That's 25.
All right, here's the question in this list. Would you rather have Laurier and Cat Scarlet with Rebel Captive, or would you rather have the Royal Guard with Push the Limit?
What I like about Cat Scarlet with Rebel Captive is, like Scott said, you don't want to leave that till the end, but it almost forces you to, because if you start stacking up stress and you have Laurier and a buzzsaw standing next to you, serious problem.
But isn't the Royal Guard the bigger problem, though? Isn't that a scarier problem than Laurier? Leaving Cat to live longer?
It's kind of 6 in one, half a dozen in the other is what it feels like to me. One of them feels like encouraging you to fire at the interceptor. I mean, I like this because it's so many varied good targets. Mm-hmm. You almost don't want to go after Laurier because he's not all that great in the face of Cat Scarlet and this buzzsaw Omicron, which almost encourages them to go after the Omicron, giving Lieutenant Laurier to do whatever the heck he wants to do around behind the enemies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I can see.
Cat Scarlet, you don't want to shoot and stack up stress. If you do, it's going to be easier for Laurier to position in behind. I like that dynamic. I can see where what was the person's name? Sable Griffin. I can see where that person is going with this.
So you could, another option, you could drop the rear and the intelligence agent and get a push-to-limit saber.
That's not bad either.
I do like that a lot, actually, because it's pretty much the same situation again.
Would you rather have Larir or push the limit saber? And I'm going to tell you, I'd rather have Turtle if I need it.
I'd rather have Turtle if I need it.
I think I'm inclined to agree. Yep.
I want to like the rear, and I'm going to play him at some point because I think he's fun, but I don't know how competitive he's going to be.
We also did ask for Ace's list, so,
Yep.
But yeah, I do kind of like I like the list. I like the saber in there a lot, though, too. But
that doesn't change the fact that it's actually a pretty strong list if you think about it that way.
Yeah, I mean, that's whenever you're just doing minor tweaks, it's a solid list.
Yeah.
There's not, it's a good combination of ships.
Well, it's about the end of the Scum and Villainy podcast episode. I want to give each of us a quick opportunity to give some shout-outs, to things we wanted to talk about. Bring up whatever you want to talk about. We got a couple of minutes per each person. Scott, what's going on?
Yeah, I got contacted by a guy, Chad, over on A Few Maneuvers, and he is running a tournament, an X-Wing tournament for charity, and it's going to happen on March 29th, and it's for the American Cancer Society. So, it's you donate some money, you play some X-Wing, and have a great time for a good cause, and I think that's awesome. And you can find out more information on that at A Few Maneuvers, or I think he has xwing.org, so you can go there and check out his site and find out more info.
Gregory, what's going on with you? What are you excited about? You got a 2-minute soap opera or soapbox, whatever you have.
I won't soapbox too terrible much.
Or soap opera, please.
or soap opera. Yeah, I don't think I can do 2 parts. It's been too long since the improv days. Mm-hmm. But no, I'm excited for the upcoming store championship, and again, regionals in Omaha for us is going to be absolutely fantastic. I'm looking forward to a lot of that.
Awesome.
Well, I'm going to take the last 2 minutes because I feel like I deserve them.
Did you write something?
Yeah, I did. And I appreciate that, and thanks for the plug. I did write a defense of the Lambda shuttle. I cannot believe for the life of me that it scored so low, and I truly do believe that it is one of the 4 best ships in the game at the current moment. I am kind of worried to see what it's going to be later, but I mean, with the Ion Pulse missile, but we'll see from there. I have a game I'm going to be playing with the Bad Wolf. We have it scheduled. He's kind of called the shuttle out. I'm going to take it out. But yeah, that's kind of what's been going on here. Also, we have in the Kansas City area a 16-player league that we're about to start. I'm pretty sure Greg's going to lose every game, and I'm very excited about that.
I don't think that's how it's going to turn out, sir.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to put you on the spot. What do you think your seed's going to be? And we're going to follow you closely.
I'm going to seed at number 2.
You're going to seed at 2. Who's 1?
I think it's either going to be Jonathan or is Matt Baugh in our league?
Matt Baugh's in the league.
And I think Brandon runs in there. I know I'll seed top 4, but those are the guys I think I'm most scared of.
So you're saying you're going to be 2, and one of those guys is going to be 1 over you.
Yep.
Okay. I'm calling the question now.
I'm feeling good.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening to the Scum and Villainy podcast. My name is Richard White. We're here with Scott Williams, Greg Duncan, and thank you for listening.
Well, I'm Boba, the vet. Well, I bounty hunt for Java Hut to